In the previous videos, we created parametric blocks for our spaces, and we created a set of views and design options to establish a space block or space planning option here. One thing, we're going to work on the first floor. Well, now let's start first, which is where I usually start with, and that is with the service cores of the building. Okay, and what I did is I went down and under mass and under program blocks right down here, I went down and created a series of different program blocks types. So all I did was go right, new type, and type in, for instance, stairs. And so I created this option, and then I brought it out, and of course it's got, since the parameters are instances, those are all set. And so then I'm going to go in here and edit the type. You'll notice that there's no parameters in here because they're instances instead of type based. Hit escape, and so I'm going to select this, and I'm going to create the stairs for the core because I want to separate the stairs. If I look at the building, I want a stairwell that can be used for egress, but also for access up and down just on a daily basis for the people. And then I need a stair opposite of that for code purposes, so that I have 2 points of egress that are a distance away from each other. So I'm going to add another stairwell right over here on the end of this. And so to make this into a stair, what I'm going to do is the stair goes, as most of the core elements, goes from top to bottom. So I'm going to change the configuration of this block, and the stair is approximately 12 feet by 20, and I determined that through my programming. And then its height all the way to the roof is going to be 72 feet, and that I got once again from my programming. So now I have a space. Of course the stairs goes to every floor. So what I'm going to do, since I use this as a mass, I'm just going to select on that mass and go in here and create the mass floors, so that I get mass floors. And you'll see now I have all my mass floors in there, and I can take areas on those. We'll look at the area schedule next. We have now a stairwell, and I want to put it into place, and so I want it back here in the back of the building. So I'm just going to move it, and I want it rotating the other direction, so I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and then move it again and place it against the wall. Okay. Where it's going to be exactly, I'm going to push and pull that as time goes on, so I'll just wait on that. The other is I want a stair that's inside the building, and of course this one, since it's not inside the building, it just sits on the outside of the building right now, and I did that in order to create some kind of articulation of the exterior facade here, give me something. Also, I'm thinking of making it an exposed stair instead of an enclosed stair, so that it's open to the outside. The one thing when I transferred these two objects over was that this floor cut from the atrium, or the atrium was not cut from it. So the first thing I'm going to do is come in here. I need to unjoin it first. When you move two objects within the perimeters of each other, they're automatically joined, and to be able to cut them, then you have to unjoin them, and that's what I did right there by going into join, selecting unjoin, and then selecting the object. Of course, it's already been unjoined now, so I'm going to go cut, and that's going to cut a curve out of that floor, which is what I want. And so let's create another stair over there. So I'm going to go over to the view here and do a move. So we'll go here, here, and I'm going to move that over to here, but I want it right here diagonally 45 degrees. So I'm going to rotate this 45 degrees and then move it into place. And of course it gave me an error statement there because this has now been moved in here, but it's not cut from it. and that's what I need to do. At the same time, it's been joined. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did earlier, unjoin. I'm going to find that object, unjoin it. When I do, you'll see now it appears because it's not a part of that model. And then I'm going to go in here and do a cut, and I'm going to cut that space from that. Okay. Now there's a hole or a shaft in this object right here, or in that mass. Okay. And we can see my stair right here. And so now what I'm going to do is take some of the other, I moved it instead of copying it, didn't I? Okay, so I'm going to go offline to fix it. So now we have our two stairwells, and what I'm going to do is come in, and I would like the elevators to be right here, so they make up both the passenger elevators to be right here. So I'm going to throw those in there real quick, and once again I'm going to go through the same process as I did before. Mass families, go down to program blocks and create a elevator passenger elevator block, and once again it doesn't retain the type. That's the disadvantage of making this an instance. But I'm going to make an elevator really quick. If I look at my area study, I see the elevator, passenger elevator is 9 feet by 9 feet right here. And so I'm going to make one of those again just to show you the whole height of the building, because the elevator is going to go from top to bottom. I'm going to apply that, or it applied it after a point. Let's take a look here. Okay, so now we have our elevator shaft, and of course we create the mass floors for it so that it stops at every floor. And then I'm going to place it into place. And I'm just going to put it somewhere right now. Right, say right there. And I'll worry about exactly, once again it gave me the same problem it did before. So I'm going to unjoin, and then come back and cut it into that mass. Okay, so I'm going to go through and put the other elevator in. So if we go here, you'll see that we have a service elevator. I'm going to put the service elevator back here, because my plan is to put the shipping and receiving back here in this back corner. So I'm going to put the service elevator back here, and I'll move it around as needed. I'll just get it in right now. And then all these mechanical rooms and the restrooms and all that, I'm going to move that core right here to the south side of the building. Normally you might not do that, but since I have another building right here, none of the views are that great looking at the south side of the building, and we're going to want to shade it anyway most of the time because of the heating. And my views are to the east and the west, and that's the reason I reoriented this. So I've got east and west views that I want to play up. Those are normally the worst case scenarios for climate responsive design, but I've got views I just can't turn down of mountains on both sides of the building, so I've got to orient the building that way to take advantage of it. So I'm going to pop in this service core and then also make up the other elevator. I'll just do that offline. So you can see I added the other elevator right here. I just copied this one over, unjoined it, and cut it. And then I added the service elevator back here for shipping and receiving. And what I've got left then is, in the core, are these spaces, the mechanical closets, the women's restrooms, and everything like that. So I'm going to put them right here. And these spaces that I've already put in, if we add them up, they come up to a little less than 600 square feet, about around 1587. So I'm just going to subtract that from there and create a service core right here of 1,000 square feet. And what I'd like to know is kind of, well, how much room is there right here to here, so that I know how much depth to make right here. And to do that, I can't really measure that well in 3D views. Well, you can't measure it in 3D views. So that's the reason that I created these 2D level views. And if I go into the 2D level view, we'll see my elevator here, and I can go in and go to a distance and measure the distance from here to here, and it's 48. So 48 into 1,000 is a little over 20 feet. And so I'd like to keep it on a 2-foot grid. So I'm going to make this actually 50 feet right here. So make this 50 and this 20. That'll give me my 1,000 feet. And of course that's going to change as the design develops and things happen. So let's real quickly go back to our 3D view. We're going to go in here, create that service core, and you'll see I already created a new type, and I created a core with no stairs. So I'm going to drop that in here. Once again, it's instances, so the parameters aren't retained, but I can set those really quickly. So it's going to be in 72 because there's a core on every floor. And we're going to apply this, and then I'm just going to move it into place. We'll snap it to the bottom of there, and once again it's been joined, so I want to unjoin it so that I can cut it. There we go, hitting the tab key to select it, and now I'm going to cut, and I'm going to cut this by this, and now we've got those two cut. You'll see that they overlap right here, and of course that's easy to resolve. I'm just going to go into plan view because it's easier, and let's go in and just move it. So I'm going to select it, move. We'll just move that from here to there. And I've still got plenty of room for people to pass through right here to get to the elevator. Matter of fact, I may even want to eventually move that even closer, but I always like to give myself a lot of space to work with, and then I can tighten it up as the design moves forward. So now I've got my service core in here, and I've got all my core elements. They're going to go through the building vertically that have to be stacked on top of each other. And so now I'm ready to deal with each floor and kind of the spatial arrangement of the different floors. So the next one I'm going to do is the first floor.